I'm going to put a lot of effort in this video, so please watch it till the end. Hey curious people, welcome back to the Curiosity Kingdom. Today we'll be continuing with our season 2, and this time on season 2 we are going to be continuing with our science series, and this time on our science series we are going to discuss about sound. So in this video you are going to learn a lot about sound, like how do humans hear sound, are there sound that human being cannot hear, and how sound produced and what actually sound is. So you are going to learn a lot. As usual, I am Athar Dubey and let's begin. Before we discuss things related to sound, we should know what sound actually is. So let us define it using an example. Let us take the example of an electrical speaker. We provide it with electricity, which is nothing but electrical energy, and then it produces sound. So here electricity gets converted to sound. We know electricity is electrical energy, and energy changes from one form to another. So electrical energy gets converted to sound, which means sound is a form of energy. And we all know that enables us to hear things. Thus we conclude sound is a form of energy that enables us to hear things. How is sound produced? Now to know this, let's look at some instances in our lives in which sound is produced. Sound is produced when either two objects collide or move. So clearly sound is produced when something moves. So to know this movement in detail, let's take an example in which a ball hits a box and sound is produced. When the ball hits a box, it generates a vibration in both the box and the ball, producing sound. So we finally conclude that sound is produced when some things move. During this motion, the object vibrates, thus producing sound, or simply sound is produced by vibrations. Now we know that sound is produced when something vibrates. So in order to propagate sound, we need to propagate these vibrations. Let's see how, by an example. Let's take the same example when the box is struck by a ball. It starts vibrating. It then transfers the vibration to the nearby molecules, shown in red, which then starts transferring their vibration to the next molecules, and similarly the things go on. When this vibration goes in our ear, we hear sound, about which we will discuss later. Now take this example when this thing called a tuning fork is struck. It produces sound and vibrates. When it's dipped in water, it makes the water move, clearly showing that sound is traveling in water. So we clearly conclude that sound travels by passing its vibrations through particles and can travel through solid, liquid and gases. What about vacuum? Let's find out. Take an electric bell in an electric bell jar and attach a vacuum pump. Make the bell ring. You will be able to hear sound clearly. Now put the vacuum pump on. You will observe that as the vacuum pump sucks out the air, the sound reduces, and when the air is completely sucked out, no more sound is audible, clearly meaning that sound cannot move in vacuum, means sound needs a medium to propagate. The way a sound moves is graphically depicted by sound wave. You may not be able to understand it now, so let's see how it is drawn. Now look at this image. This is how the air molecules look when sound is produced, and this is how it's represented in the form of sound waves. Now if you look at the diagram below, you will notice that the y-axis is taken as density. Now if you compare the diagrams, you will see that the area where density of air molecules is high, like in this area, it is represented by a peak called crest, and the area of less density of air molecules is represented by a trough. So clearly a sound wave is a representation of increase and decrease in density of air columns when sound moves. The areas with high density of air are called compressions, and areas with low density of air are called rarefactions. And also then we have some important terms related to sound waves. These are amplitude, time period and frequency. Now if we look at the line which joins the highest point to the line representing average density, the measure of this line is called the amplitude. The time taken to complete one wave is called the time period, and the number of waves per unit time is called the frequency of the sound wave. You might have wondered what one wave is, so let's find out. A one wave consists of starting from the average level, going to one crest, coming back to the same level, then going to a trough and then coming back to the same level. Now, why we are discussing about sound waves in so detail? Because number one, it's good to know as much as you can about anything, and number two, because it has high relevance in the upcoming section. Now, every sound sounds different. Some sounds are loud, where some are soft. Some are shrill, some are deep. Have you ever wondered why? Let's see. This depends upon the amplitude of the sound, frequency of the sound produced, and the waveform. Let's see how. The amplitude of a sound determines the loudness of the sound. Higher the amplitude, louder the sound. Lesser the amplitude, softer the sound. The sound wave on left represent louder sound and on right represent a softer sound. Whereas the frequency of a sound wave determines the pitch of the sound. Higher the frequency, shriller the sound. Lesser the frequency, deeper the sound. The sound on the left is shrill, whereas on the right is deep. What will happen if two sounds have the same pitch and loudness? Then will these voices be different or not? Let's see. If we make the string of a guitar and sitar at the same pitch and loudness, we will still be able to distinguish those sounds easily. How does this happen? This happens because of another property of sound called quality of the sound. The two main factors on which quality of the sound depends are the waveform. Like in the image you can see that frequency and amplitude is same, but in one increase is uniform and in other increase non-uniform. And clearly you can see that both of them are not identical. And second is mixture of frequency. Musical instrument along with basic notes called fundamentals also produce a mixture of other sounds of other frequency and loudness. These are called harmonics. Both of these properties help in distinguishing sound with the same amplitude and frequency. If you have been following Curiosity Kingdom for a while, you might have come across every element in the periodic table series. We will discuss each element in the periodic table in detail every second week of the month, so don't forget to check that out. But coming back to the point, so if you see in those videos, we discuss the speed of sound through that element. And you might have observed that the element to element, the speed of sound changes. And when something is not constant, it is dependent. So sound depends on two major factors, density of the medium and temperature. Speed of sound is directly proportional to density of the medium. Means higher the density, higher the speed of sound. Let's see why. We know that sound travels by transfer of vibration through particles in the air. So in a denser medium, molecules are close, thus sound is more easily transferred. This clearly means sound moves faster in solid than in liquids and gas. While talking about temperature, it is also directly proportional, means lower the temperature, slower the speed. Higher the temperature, faster the speed. Let's discuss it by an example. Sound travels faster in summer than in winter because during summers the temperature is higher. So the kinetic energy of the particle of the material medium that sound is using to travel, say air, is also higher due to heat energy. Here are the speed of sound through various mediums. They are all at 25 degrees Celsius. Like the speed of sound through iron is 5950 meter per second, whereas the speed of sound through distilled water is 1498. And the speed of sound through air, which is very important, is 346 meter per second. And now you have watched this video till here, so most probably you're enjoying it and learning something new. So do consider subscribing to Curiosity Kingdom as we upload once a week and subscription is totally free. So please do subscribe and also hit the bell icon so you get the notification whenever we upload. Thank you. You may believe it or not, but there are certain sounds which human beings cannot hear. And this we'll study now. The number of waves produced per unit time is called the frequency of the sound, which if you remember we studied a moment ago. The SI unit is hertz, which is the number of waves produced per second. Human beings can hear sounds of frequency between 5 to 20,000 hertz. The sounds of frequency less than 5 hertz are called infrasonic sounds and above 20,000 hertz are called ultrasonic sounds. Infrasonic sounds and ultrasonic sounds, none of them are audible to human beings. Dogs, bats and dolphins can listen to ultrasonic sounds. And elephant, whales and octopus can even produce and hear infrasonic sounds. In order to know how humans produce sound, we need to know the structure of human ear. The human ear is divided into three broad parts: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear consists of visible outer part of the ear called the pinna and the ear tube. The eardrum is tightly stretched membrane that separates the outer ear from the middle ear. The middle ear consists of three very tiny interlocked bones. The innermost bone, the stirrup, which is the shortest bone, is connected to the inner ear through a tiny window. And the inner ear consists of the coiled organ of hearing, which are connected to the auditory nerves which send signals to our brain. When a vibrating object causes air molecules to vibrate, when these vibrations reach our ear, they are collected by the pinna and funneled into the ear tube. These then strike the eardrum, which starts vibrating with the same frequency. This causes the delicate bones of the middle ear to vibrate. These bones amplify the vibration and transmit them to the inner ear. The vibrations stimulate tiny hair cells in the hearing organ, which send signal to the auditory nerves of our nervous system. The auditory nerves take the signal to the brain, and we can then hear the sound. Now we all know what noise is, but there are a lot of things related to noise which we don't know. Let's find out. Loud and unpleasant sounds are called noise. Whether a sound is a noise depends upon the intensity of sound, which is the amount of energy flowing per unit time through a unit area that is perpendicular to the direction in which sound waves are traveling, whose SI unit is decibel. For normal human beings, a sound of 85 decibel is suitable, and sound higher that intensity are called noise. And when the level of noise increases, it causes noise pollution. Among the large number of types of pollution persisting in today's environment, noise pollution is the least talked about. But it can be very dangerous for human beings, as it causes things like noise-induced hearing loss, which is NIHL. Exposure to loud noise can also cause high blood pressure, heart disease, sleep disturbance, and stress. The health problems can affect all age groups and especially children. Now, whenever we discuss about any pollution, we always discuss about how to prevent it and how to reduce it. So we'll also discuss the same. Some ways in which you can reduce noise pollution are: avoid playing loud music, keep television volumes under reasonable limit, don't take out silencers of vehicle. People think that gives a cool feel, but actually that's really disgusting. And if you're a dog, train it not to bark. And yeah, if you live in areas with a lot of construction going on, just put on noise cancelling headphones to prevent yourself from this thing called noise induced hearing loss. Or just go and kill those people with a gun. No, don't. Just kidding. Human beings love echo. It's very fascinating, but let's see what echo is. Echo is simply the repetition of sound caused by reflection of sound waves. Echo happens when a sound produced hits an reflective surface and reaches the listener. To see whether echo happens or not depends on two factors. First is the surrounding of the sound producer and the distance between a reflective surface and the listener. Whenever we hear a sound, its sensation persists in our head for 0.1 second. Therefore, in order to hear a distinct echo, the time interval between the original and the reflective must be 0.1 second. We all know that the speed of sound is 346 meters per second at 25 degrees Celsius, and for an echo to occur, we need a difference of 0.1 second between hearing the first sound and the reflected sound. We know that distance equals to speed into time. Here distance equals to 346 into 0.1, which is 34.6. In order to make sound travel this distance, we need to stand at least half of the required distance away from the wall. In this case, it is 17.3 meters. And by this we come to the end of the video. Hope you learned something new. If yes, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. New to this channel, don't forget to subscribe to it. You can follow us on various social media handles. Don't forget to visit our website. And if you like our work, you can support us on our Patreon. And we have got a new channel which posts small short videos. So don't forget to follow us there. Until the next time, keep learning, keep asking, and stay curious.